Greetings everyone, here's Lodrik. This is a game war in the Pacific Admirals Edition. Play by email match against Jochen. Jochen is the allied player and for me still the Empire of Japan. Scenario 1 in 1 day turn setup. Originally there was the agreement that we maybe change after 1 month to 2 day turns, but I think everyone agreed that it's really, maybe if two skillful player with at least average skills, there's so much to do and the game mechanics are a little tricky to work here with 2 day turns. With Dojo I did it and you can get used to it but 1 day turn is simply give the player more control, I would say this. Again, Mark 14 attack on my cargo and transport shipping out of Rabul back to Truk, and but this was more or less the minimum attack only, so looks like the commander was not aggressive enough, or why he only used 2 torpedoes and more. And this was more or less, you must see the last turn. Last turn my carrier division just barely missed the enemy heavy cruiser formation. And then I had to choose how I'd react. And I choose more or less that I create a battleship or battle cruiser hunter formation. And I hoped that my battle cruiser would engage the enemy heavy cruisers. Simply because the Congo have enough belt armor to withstand any 8-inch and 6-inch attack and could normally take all the punishment similar to the Mutsu before in December we saw near Balikpapan, I think. And then maybe my heavy cruisers I sent more north to maybe engage the enemy cargo ships if they try to escape to Nomaya. But what happened is more or less, it looks like that Jochen make a U-turn and run back to Wellington or at least to New Zealand, to the next port he can maybe catch. So I was here able now to find here enemy cargo and troop transport task force, but protected by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 destroyers. We will see how this works. Normally I would simply go full in and make a short-range torpedo attack on all of the cargo ships if I would be the commander. But somehow in this game the Japanese surface torpedo attacks are all very shitty. You can also see that the enemy escort ships are skillfully blocking my attempt. I think the game must calculate this, and sometimes you can read it, that the escort ships, in this case are the destroyers, trying to block my task force, that they cannot come close to the cargo ships. And here something very unluckily happened. Similar to my Dojo game, somehow one allied torpedo find a target and hit my destroyer. So, but my many torpedoes never hit something like a cargo ship. So, all in all, Jochen have so much luck in this game. At least in the small stuff. And my Congo is not finding the targets, and maybe he also, normally I would say, try to focus on the APs. Here is the main target, normally sink the APs. There are at least 2 APs, with troops maybe on board, 3 APs in total. And because of my destroyer Yugumo had already a torpedo hit and is now crippled and slow, it is much easier for the enemy task force to hit this ship additionally. So this is a live calculation. if you can slow down enemy ships, the maneuver values are dropping, and the maneuver values are, I think, the counterpart for accuracy of the gun of the attacker. So the better skills of the attacker, and of course distance and moonlight or radar and all this will of course included, but the defender have only the ability to maneuver. So maneuver values are often related to speed. But we're fighting back. And we can create here some damage. At least a little. And we make one hit on a cargo ship, not on an AP. This is of course the wrong target. Yeah, but at least one hit. And it looks like that the ship have a fuel loaded because the cargo is burning. And now at the end, we also make a collision. So my damage ship already make a collision additionally. So we create more damage. But sometimes collision can be very minor. Like I saw a collision with 5 system damage and 1 floating damage. And it was also possible to have something like 30 system damage on 10 or 20 flotation damage. So now the engagement is over. This is a nighttime engagement, but with nearly full moonlight, so normally best condition for the Japanese. We can nearly every cargo ship get a hit. This AK will go down. This is I think heavily damaged. The rest I'm not so sure. And we can see that there are some troops on board. But at all, I'm very disappointed with this outcome. Simply because my Congo was not... Normally I had to sink half of the cargo ships and let them all burn left. Maybe the destroyers ignore. And the drawback is now that I have a crippled destroyer. And this is a first class destroyer. So, at 10 point, this is one of my elite destroyers. I cannot really lose them. I only produce 1 of this per month. And I lost already 3 destroyers in the battle of Balikpapan some months ago. So I barely can catch up with my losses. So more lost destroyers is not nice. So this is a Dutch destroyer. I think 2 days ago I had I don't know if I had a torpedo hit on it or a bomb hit. But this Dutch destroyer was sinking, or I was hoping it is already, or guessed it already sunk long time ago, but looks not. But now my submarine find it and can really... Now we get a sinking sound, but we don't know if it's a destroyer or it's maybe the cargo ship. But I believe that this destroyer is now really dead. One more destroyer, the torpedo is too much. Normally 1 torpedo is already enough to sink a destroyer in 90% of the cases. This is now a night engagement. I will skip this a little and I want to only explain here. I talked about this before. I give this fighters for long range cap over this hex. In the daytime it works. You can also see that they are here, they are present. So the function is... I mean, my fighters are here. But somehow they will not take part of this battle. So these Russian interceptors attack my bombers. And my escort is completely ignored. There can be now 2 reasons. First, these are daytime fighters. So maybe the game simply don't allow the daytime fighters can make night bombing escort. Then I maybe must really wait for night fighters. Or this function is simply not active, that you can make long range cap at night. But I mean, this is working because I see my fighters. So, but I get first the night fighters in 43, so at least 1 year I must wait to see if this works maybe with night fighters. Or maybe Jochen get earlier night fighters and maybe he try something like this, but this is simply not working. I cannot escort night raid. Looks like. I get here many damage and one killed by flak, so but the Russian fighters are not really so strong, but and flak, I'm not sure if flak is better at night or at day. Hard to say. Here's the same. No Russian can intercept my bombers, but only 9 bombers. Really only the minimum damage. Now Jochen try night bombardment, but I emptied this space already, so there are no fighters more on the ground left. But my flak is also too weak here. I still don't have radar, so this is the last 2 days I have no radar. In March I can get the first radar stations. And I think there was one just the interceptor kill. At least I lost one airplane, you can see. So the Russians were able to kill one of my night bombers. And again. Nothing happened. So it's interesting, you learn something. You know now that this there's the next sinking sound, so more allied ships sunk just now. And my destroyer can survive at least this first night. Okay, so we encounter a single operation destroyer. Maybe it's not a destroyer, maybe it's... We see soon. So we're crossing the T, so we can use all our guns, and the enemy ship can only use forward firing guns. So it's AVD. So this is a converted destroyer for float plane support. I think only the allies have this. But normally, so this was a destroyer in script. Normally, most of the time, oh, we have a torpedo hit. So this time we make a torpedo hit. Okay, this is not so important, but this is normally you can also gun down. And I think there's not really much. Yeah. So one shell hit on my ship, and a clear, easy kill because there's no daylight time. So and nothing really more to see here. Here's a cargo ship hitting on my carrier, and you can see that I have my carrier stripped of most of my escorts, so I have only 1 heavy cruiser and 3 escort destroyers. And because this is a carrier division, will avoid it, normally any confrontation, and the cargo ship will also try to avoid, so no one will take this battle, and we simply part here. But we somehow find each other again. And there's a second task force with a, I think also similar, also AVP maybe, so also some support destroyer. And because this is a destroyer, maybe it will maybe have the... This will not try to run away normally, so this is maybe engagement my carrier division must take on. If both want part, then they will part. But the DMS, the destroyer minesweeper, so a destroyer but converted to clean mines, is still a surface combat ship. So it will not run away. It will try to hit the carrier. And in that case, my escorts will also take the engagement on and defeat this single ship with a maybe, I don't know if they have a 3 or 4 inch gun, something like this. So now the American commander, after he get already hit once or twice, he say, okay, maybe it's better to run away. But I can land a little more hits on this DMS. More torpedoes, more nothing hits. So you can see that the long length torpedoes of the Japanese, they were working, I think, up to 22,000 yards. So this is, or even more. I don't know, 28,000 yards. Oh. So we're making out of 25 kilometers or 28,000 yards, still an 8-inch shell hit. So, and again, the Japanese heavy cruisers are really strong in long range attack, and they have also torpedoes for short range. So heavy fires, heavy damage. So far away from Auckland is too far away. So I think this ship will also go down. It is small pieces, small victories here, small victories there, but no big blow. Normally I won't think here cargo ships or troop transport ships with thousands of American soldiers, but I missed the chance maybe. My heavy cruiser formation was not able to engage any battle, and that is pity. So there's still British submarines looking around Sebang. So now we have the daily Chinese bombardment, if the weather is acceptable. Here I try something new, simply because I have not enough strike forces. But the Zero can also transport 60 kilogram bombs. This is not enough to really attack anything military stuff, but for these small support ships like cargo ships or AMs, and even maybe for a destroyer, it will create fire. And fire is always the greatest threat for any kind of ship if it's not near a port. I mean, my Zero pilots are also not so skillful for this, but I want at least try it. Why not? And if I have enough 60 kilogram bomb hits, I create maybe fire. You can see here 3 bomb hits, heavy fires, heavy damage. It's only AM, maybe 2-point ship, nothing really important, but I can get rid of it. It's simply a number game. If the Allies losing so many ships, maybe the public in America will turn against the government and ask for peace. And I don't must really march my armies up to Washington. American submarines are still near Tokyo Bay, but they have no really any impact so far. Yeah, and here is a... I try my best, but I miss one important piece. You can see here's a task force near to Ambon. This is my carrier. And on this carrier I have an air wing of 18 Zero fighters. And these Zero fighters, some you can break and some you cannot break. This one was able to break, but I forgot this. I was thinking that this unit you cannot break. And I must of course always protect first my carrier before I try to protect anything. But in hindsight I had normally break this 18 zeros to 3 times 6 and keep 6 on long range support over Ternate. Because now Jochen make a port strike and damage more of my cargo ships, what is not so nice, and even sink one of my patrol ships. Not that I don't. Because and I have here also no flag. Yeah. Most of the cargo ships will survive, but fire also damage my supplies the ships have loaded. So I losing here maybe at the end maybe 2-3 cargo ships, 1 patrol ship and 10,000 supplies. It's not a total disaster, but I couldn't. There was a way to avoid this, simply to keep some fighters in that base and make a short range cap over all of this area. Naja. Again, my Zero's finding a next target. This is his cargo ship, was hitting on my carriers before twice. And you can see again it's loaded with fuel, so it's burning. So if fuel is starting burning, you can forget the ship. If you are not in the port directly, it's nearly impossible to stop it. One more hit, and again to hit, and more fire. So if you are sure that there's no enemy carrier or enemy fighter coming or airstrike on you, you can also use your Zeros for something like a navy attack. Of course, don't expect too much, and again, you will only hurt cargo ships or everything what have no armor. And I'm using here around 5,000 feet to avoid all the light machine guns, because some of these cargo ships have light machine guns or heavy machine guns, but if you are at 5,000 feet, there's normally no way that you get hit. I can also make a strafing attack, but I am not a fan of using strafing if your airplane have no armor. That is simply too risky. So more is sinking from the Allied side. And now we're making the amphibious assault on Tarakan. This is the one Navy Guard division unit I sent here to support, with 4 battleships giving support fire, and battleships they are immune against any coastal battery fire, more or less. If the coastal battery is not at least 20 centimeter or more, 8 inch, and I think there are not really many 8 inch coastal batteries, most are 4, 5 and 6 inch. For anti-cargo ships and maybe for also hurting destroyers, but nothing bigger. So you can see the battleship, I think ignore it. The light cargo ship is of course damaged, but I'm using a lot of small cargo ships simply to avoid this. They can hit this shitty cheap cargo ships and maybe even sink them, but they are 2 3-pointer and I don't have many troops on board. Simply because I spread one division or one Navy Guard unit on 8 cargo ships, so it's a minimum damage I only can, or minimum losses I have to suffer here. Good. Here I also loading some Navy guys. Or unload them, better to say. Picking Christmas Islands. Today more getting disabled, so slowly the defender are losing everything what is left. I hope maybe next turn will be the 1st of March already, but then we can maybe more or less finish the operation in Malaya. Good. So we had some Navy engagement. We had even one big Navy engagement, but unluckily not with the outcome I'm hoping for. So we are, okay, I am now already at the 1st of March, but let's see first. Intelligence report, so air war was, I lost a lot of ends in the night bombardment. One gets directly killed by flak and by air to air, and the rest was damaged, so ops losses. I also lost 2 zeros by ops. Not so really sure why. But Jochen lost 2 Catalinas. Okay. So 7-2. In ships sunk, there was many sinking sounds. Hard to say what is true. I mean, for sure the Dutch Southern destroyer is now really dead. Good. And we saw that this AVD is dead. So also this is Clemson's class destroyer. Only we built for... you cannot see it here, no. No. Okay. Yeah. And this is a standard 3-point patrol ship I'm using for escort and they only work, I mean they are normally patrol ships, nothing more. They will give you feedback that there's an enemy unit and maybe they can also defend against these submarines a little, but they are more or less only give you feedback and nothing more. Don't expect that they're really fighting. Yeah, not much here to say. List of pilots. So we have 4 killed pilots today. And 2 from them are, or at least the bombers, the Key 30, killed flak and so. Nothing really else happened here. Pilot replacement. So because it's a new month, it's the 1st of March, I get 100 new Navy pilots and 200 more Army pilots in the pool. But you can see that my pool is completely empty. I have still nearly 2,500 Army pilots. This is what I mean. I must normally really focus and split this, that the Navy really only make Navy engagement and the Army must take all the land battles and land defense of base. This I must try to split more active. The problem is only you cannot reform Army air wings, only Navy air wings if they're carrier based or carrier capable. So it is simply hard to have so many Army fighters, bombers and stuff. Yeah. Good. And because this is the 1st of March, we can maybe check air losses in total. Maybe long time I don't show this more. So we have now roughly 1050 to 850. So Jochen lost roughly 200 more airplanes. I lost a lot of zeros. Some are ill-fated over Colombo and other stuff. So many of my zeros, and this is, you can see air-to-air is often lost of pilots. Torpedo bombers, okay, that is often related to Pearl Harbor and stuff. Jochen lost 62 Catalinas. This is, I think, good for me. Some killed by my cap, some killed in Pearl Harbor. This is, I think, mainly Pearl Harbor, but also many ops losses for him. And you can see the rest of the numbers here. And compared to the zeros, I lost only 35 Oscar 1Cs. And this is normally the only Oscars I really use active in battle. So 30 to 160. And this is simply the problem. I must really push more the Oscars in battle and not the zeros. Simply because I'm running out of Navy pilots if I do this longer. So, and if you want, you can see here more. So also B-17s already, 17 B-17s gets killed. And 25 B-17Ds. So these are many of his heavy hitters. And also 10 Liberators. So in total I will kill already 10. Roughly 25. Plus 25. So 50 heavy bombers gets killed. That is not bad, I would say. So and the rest is all small stuff. Good. And from let's keep this. I will make maybe next turn I can make a more deep analyze about more history stuff, but I won't keep it now here about the turn first. So what else happened in China? We have no big change. This was a moving turn and not a fighting turn. I'm moving still and try to catch with this Xi'an guys. Unluckily, my air force was grounded by the weather, so I cannot slow them down. So Jochen still move maybe with full speed and the same speed I move. So I don't know how many I can catch. But next turn I will cross the river and then I will simply force the battle. Up to now I can see 18 units. If half of them are the damage from last time, so we will see. Center of China is no change. South of China is no change. You can see I'm moving some units to the rear and some units to the front line. But I'm not strong enough to push in the source. In the center I must still recover. And all my focus is now around Xi'an. Xi'an is now mine. So the minimum goal is already taken. So I can rebuild now, or can build out Xi'an to create a better airfield there. No big engagement this turn here over Rangoon, simply because I was already expecting that Jochen will bring here more fighters. You can see he have now 91 fighters. I was also not able to locate the enemy carrier division. So you can see here, I try to interdict maybe his carrier and maybe have a lucky hit. I move my carriers in this position, but I cannot lure him, because this is still in range of my A11 from Bangkok. So at the end we have no carrier battle here. I also bring here in a battle formation around Nagato. So I was thinking maybe, okay, if I can maybe cripple one of the carriers, I can go in with the Nagato to finish it off. But no. Simply nothing happened. And last turn, I'm not more sure if I talk about this. Where's my other fighters? No, not this one. I think this guy had a heavy battle over Rangoon. You can see that they create 13 hits, and before I think they had no engagement really. But I lost here also some airframes, ops losses. So maybe this guy's had a 2-to-1 kill ratio with many hurricanes. And you can not see what kind of kills you had. This is all this additional nice information you would normally nice to see here, like what kills, and maybe also what day they had this kill, or maybe it's the pilots that you can see it here. Okay, give me one pilot, give me more information. Yeah, unluckily. See, there's no real change, no change. Yeah, we had the bombardment of Tarakan. I bring in additional forces, so I have now this Navy Guard unit is a little disabled, but at least 50 attack value arrived here, and they have no disruption. This is a cargo ship, it had this 2 hits, so it's burning. And normally what is burning is always going down, but it's only 3-point ship, so it doesn't matter. And there's also no supplies left, so it's simply, this is the price I have to pay to attack Tarakan, because Tarakan have this coastal batteries. Maybe the difference to, I don't know, I think it was Fuso? Ah, nee, you got to. Here, this is the ship, it also get fire, but only 4 system damage. And the battleship is much better in firefighting or something like this. Capital ships have simply more ability to put down fires. So it's surface damage, create some fires on the upper structure, but I think not more. But this is why you need heavy cruisers or battleships to support this, to lure the enemy counter battery fire on your heavy ships and let the rest simply do their job. Good. Last point is maybe here in the source. I created here only that you can normally use every kind of ship to create an escort task force, because many task forces are limited to specific type of ships. A carrier can only be let's say this. You can see out of these ships I make here a combination, only the escort is working. Because I have here carriers, this is scout cruisers and an APD. And I cannot make out of this carrier airstrike division, because the APD is official, I think, only a support ship or something like this. So if you want to bring ships together for what reason ever, you can always make an escort task force out of it. It will still operate. I don't know really what is the drawback out of this. I still think that the carrier can send out his airplanes. It is whatever reason it is. But you can normally, because sometimes I don't have destroyers. If I had here destroyers, I could maybe make a normal air combat division or whatever they call it. But in this case, it's simply not possible. I can go here and I can create a new task force. Then I can make an air combat. I can say, but then I can only take these 3 ships, but not the APDs. And if I want to create a surface combat task force, it is possible to take the scout cruisers and the APDs, but not the carriers. So that is, but I want them all together simply because I need the carriers moving source with the scout cruiser, and the APDs, in this case, they're making the anti-submarine protection, and also for escort duty. Simply to have always every capital ship need 1 escort ship. That is the minimum rule you better follow. Yeah. Anyway, I bring these two carriers now source. Simply, I was not sure what happened here. I was hoping here to have the big engagement in the center between New Zealand and Nomaya, but Jochen ran away and don't take the battle. So maybe then I will change the direction of my carriers. Maybe I go to Luganville and park them first there. And because Jochen never come here, I bring now here my... This is my second, my second battleship division here, or battle cruiser division, was also lurking here and trying to get an interception, but no, nothing. And this is full detected. Okay, but my carriers are not detected. So Jochen's Navy scout search is still very shitty in this area, I would say, or at least not at the peak of power. Maybe he have not really much Navy searching for in Fiji and more on Nomaya. So because if I come close to Nomaya, he will detect me. But if I stay far away from Nomaya, there's no detection. Because I also know that there's no really battle engagement here, because there's really simply nothing. So I think they're all running back to Auckland or Wellington. And then it makes no sense to come now with my carriers. Then I stay there and then he simply only waits. So I will maybe follow my old plan, going to Pago Pago, because my submarines detected here a bigger task force. Wait, here. So at least 3-4 ships, or 10 ships in total. A little unlucky. If I not changed my course, I would maybe already be in striking range and could attack maybe already this turn, this task force. Now I must turn again the other direction. So this is why you need really always good scouting information, that you know where to turn and where to avoid maybe. So Kaga, sorry, too late. So and the last piece of battle information is this. This is the two ships, they kick each other. Collision. Somehow they collide each other after I first torpedo hit, then a collision. Not sure what is creating more damage. Normally I would say one torpedo hit kill a destroyer, like I said this in most of cases, and this looks not good. But because this is one of my first class destroyers, this one is only a... This is also first class destroyer. I simply split between first class destroyers and second class destroyers. If it's a 5-inch gun, then it's a first class destroyer. And if it's only have 4.5-inch guns, like 12 centimeter, then it's for me a second class destroyer. And all of the second class destroyers at some point of the war you can always convert to escort ships, to truly escort ships, and then they are not more for battle line. I don't know if I think my carrier have some kind of this ship, so my carrier is here. Here you can see 12 centimeter. It is a destroyer, but it's normally heavy like American ship, and the armament is similar to American ships. More gunfire power or surface power, guns and torpedoes. You can convert them to APD, but I would not do this with this kind of ship. I will always go with the upgrade pass. Then this is the destroyer. You can see you get the anti-aircraft more mainly. Still more destroyer. And then, there is normally a way to convert the ship also later to an escort ship, but you cannot see it. You can only see it with the tracker. But anyway, yeah. This is also my heavy cruiser had also a collision. So this ship is also a little slowed down because you can see the engine damage. Because it's slow, I put it with the carrier together. Because I was expecting normally that my heavy cruisers, they are here in the north, they won't have the full speed and they need the maneuver value. But here was never anything. So I normally was hoping I can get a fight here, and then my battle cruiser can maybe go in, or first my battle cruiser go in and then my cruisers finish them off. And if there's anything burning, then I could also come back with my carrier to finish them off. But all of this planning, at the end, nothing really happens because Jochen simply only run back home. Yeah. Good. I think for today it's enough. Thank you all. Take care. Bye bye.